But let's move on to the NFC. We'll do the same thing. We'll start in the North.
Yeah, the best place to start.
And I'm going to... Can I have the floor for a second to speak my mind a little bit?
I guess. If you guys want to turn it off now, feel free.
I'm going to let you guys into the mind of Ricky Widmer. I had a huge dilemma.
Gonna let you guys in the mind. Pitch black.
I had a huge dilemma. It's kind of like 11 in Stranger Things in here. I'm just walking around. It's an all black room. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, by the way, check it out on Netflix. Fucking amazing. But with this division, I had the hardest time because if you guys are onside kick followers, you've been listening all offseason, I've been very adamant about 3 playoff teams from the NFC North. Vikings, Packers, Bears. Vikings, Packers, Bears. It's going to be the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears in that order. I almost wanted, before coming in today,
you tried to weasel your way out of it.
Well, I almost wanted to change it. And the reason being is I know we've been getting a lot of comments as of late about how apparently Bears fans are Bears homers because 5 of us here at MVP, me being the only non-Bears fans, are a little Bears biased, I guess. But I was like, okay, I'm confident in this Bears team that they can go 10-6, make the playoffs. Then I kept, for the past week or so, I've been listening to the local radio here in Chicago, and I'm like, okay, I'm hearing about all these injuries. I'm hearing some bad things. Maybe I should flip it and have a different team jump in. Maybe I should do that. And
you tried to weasel your way out.
Right now,
Right
now, I'm going to keep it. My standings for the North, I'll go first, is I've got my Vikings at the top, 12-4. They'll win the division. Then I will have the Packers at 11-5, Bears at 10-6. Like I said, I didn't weasel out, so spoiler alert, those 2 teams are in the playoffs. And then the lowly Lions at the bottom. I'm sorry, D-Town.
0-16.
You guys are 3-13. Close. Close, but no
close.
cigar. I mean, with the Lions, the wins that I did give them was I think they'll beat the Rams at home. I think they'll beat the Bears at home because they usually steal one from the Bears. And then I gave you the Saints on the road. What do you got for the North?
And now cue the classic Lions fan being like, steal one? We've been beating the Bears like every year. We've been sweeping them every year for the past like 3 years now.
What do you got for the North?
Well, I got the Vikings on top, 12-4. I mean, they're a very good team. They're very well put together. They're a complete team.
Skull Vikes, baby.
The weak link on there is, they don't know how to not kick laces. But besides that, they're a very good team.
Even in the preseason, just fucking cut his ass now because I can't deal with it in the playoffs.
Now, the next team I have, much like Ricky, is the Packers. I had the Packers at 10-6. The Packers are very safe, even if they don't win the division like they didn't last year. They're a very safe team to be a double-digit win team. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers really has not seen double digits since he's been starting. I don't care enough about the Packers to look one way or the other to confirm that fact, but that's just the way I feel. Now, moving forward, we have the king of the North. This is the Chicago Bears, the 9-7 team. Not 10-6 like Ricky. Not bad still. A lot of people are like, oh, Bears going to win 5 games. This team is good. Bears homer in me aside, I'm wearing a Chicago shirt, by the way.
Notice how the Vikings fan has your team better than you do.
Yeah, right? But I think this defense is going to be good, and I think that assuming Alshon Jeffrey and Kevin White are there and they're healthy, there's just too many good things to be a 5-win team.
And here's the thing I will say, because I know a few people are going to say, well, but Ricky, how can you say that the Bears are going to be a good team when it's... Because let's be honest, the defense is going to carry that team, and the offense, the quarterback play is not going to be great. But there's going to be people that say, well, Ricky, how can you say that about the Bears, that they'll be fine, but then the Broncos aren't going to be good? And here's the thing. I may hate Jay Cutler. I may think he's a bum. I may never want him on my team. But if I had a pick, if you said, would you rather have Jay Cutler as your quarterback or the mess of quarterbacks in Denver, I guess Baby Cutlet's coming to be my quarterback because I am going to pick Cutler. I am more confident in Cutler than anybody that they have in Denver, and that's coming from a Jay Cutler hater.
Yeah, that's good. That's good words right there, Ricky. I appreciate it. finally, we have the 0-16 Lions coming in at 4-12.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm like, please tell me you have them at 0-16.
I just want everybody to be reminded that they once went 0-16. They once were the
2008.
only team to ever do it.
2008.
No one ever in the history of the NFL, I think, can go 0-16 again. But this is my team. I think that the Vikings are a very complete team. I think that the Packers are a very good team, but they're going to have to fight their way for a
Do you think bringing back Jordy Nelson is really going to be like that? Like
I think
everything that Packer fans and just everyone who's now picking the Packers to go to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, is it really just one player, and they go?
Well, I think it's not necessarily that's one player as much as it's a wide receiver. They didn't have any.
Well, and now Cobb can move back to not being
doing
the
what he
number
did,
one,
yeah.
and, hiding behind Jordy.
Defense is still just kind of average to slightly above average for the Packers.
Especially and that's the one thing I did forget to say at the beginning. The two teams that's going to be interesting with these, and we're doing this before Thursday. Note that we're recording this Tuesday night. James Harrison for the Steelers, Clay Matthews of the Packers could be suspended indefinitely some games depending on if they interview with Goodell. So we're making these picks before that suspension happens. So if Clay gets suspended, and I think Peppers is also one of them. If
Peppers in there too.
If they both go, that makes the Packers worse.
A lot worse. Clay Matthews moving positions this year back to a position he's much more comfortable in. That's that should only improve that defense, you would think, but then take him out and forget about it. But
forget about it.
I still think though that Packers are one of those teams that they're just going to win games because of the Packers. Bears I think are better. Lions I still think are not very good. Losing Megatron, I know people are going to say that you're overreacting to the Megatron thing.
It's a pretty big deal.
That's the new popular thing to say. Just weeks before, the people saying that were overreacting to Megatron being gone. But I until I see somebody else step up and be the weapon for Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford did not make Megatron. Megatron made Matthew Stafford. So that's just the way I got to say it,
What about the NFC South? Run me through your standings in the South.
All right, so this is going to sound familiar. We got another 12-4 team. This is the Claw Up Panthers. Then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're a 5-11 team. The Falcons are also a 5-11 team. And then we had the Saints coming in at a lowly 3-13. Saints, I'm just going to spoil it right now, one of my absolute worst teams. Not the worst team. They will not have the number one pick, but they're pretty damn close at number 2.
Now, the thing with the Saints is I know the Sheldon Rankin injury hurts them tremendously because that was supposed to be a huge part to that defense. But with them, I think that they're going to be the Steelers, not like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but like STEAL.
There's an A in it,
yeah. Steelers. They're going to steal some games. I got them stealing a game against the Falcons. They'll beat the Chargers because, come on, the Chargers are not going to be good this year.
Do we declare beating the Falcons as a steal?
I think so. I think they're gonna split with the Falcons. They're going to split with the Buccaneers. The Panthers, they don't got a shot. So they're going to get 2 wins from the division, and then for me, the other 3 come against the Rams, Chargers, and 49ers.
I even give them the steal that I have for them is against the Broncos. I know we just talked about how great that defense is.
I got the Broncos beating them just because.
The defense is great, but it's just when it comes to a man who can throw the fucking ball and break through a blockade like the Denver Broncos are, I gotta believe in Drew Brees. The man can throw the damn ball. He can unleash the dragon for 5,000 yards.
And that was one of the games where I actually gave the Broncos a steal. But my South standings as they stand right now, the predictions for this year, I got the Panthers at the top. However, I got them a game better than you. I got them at 13-3 going into the playoffs. Then I got the Falcons, 7-9, a much more improved Falcons team before the Saints and the Buccaneers rounded off at 5-11 each.
It's a lot of 5-11.
It's one of those things where I think the Buccaneers, they're interesting. They could be 5-11 at worst, 8-8 at best. There's some games in there. Broncos, Niners. I want to say one of the Saint games. There's another one in there though. It was Bears. So Broncos, Niners, Bears, they win those are an 8-18.
Sure. I just think that for Tampa Bay, Lovey did bad things to that defense out there.
You're going to need one more year.
Yeah, they need to rebuild a little bit. And it's also, we just got to watch out for sophomore slumps. I mean, the same thing can be said Marcus Mariota, but with Jameis, you just got to look out a little bit.
I think both Winston and Mariota have what it takes to avoid that slump this year. And I'm not the biggest of fans of Jameis.
You don't
famous Jameis. So that's a lot. Wow, 2 quarterbacks that I absolutely hate. I just commented on this podcast. We got to move on before
You're loving them all?
Before I start becoming a White Sox fan or something. But moving on to the NFC.
Where we get to talk about Sam Bradford.
The NFC least, I should say. Well, Sam Bradford, that's one guy that Dave Oster can't stand him. But I'll give my standings first. At the top, at 12-4, the Dallas Cowboys are back. I got to put the disclaimer. They got to stay healthy. If they can stay healthy, they're going to win this division. Best offensive line. One of the top receivers in the NFC, maybe even the NFL. One of the best quarterbacks, most efficient quarterbacks, I'll say.
And Dak Prescott.
In the NFL. Not Dak Prescott. Not Dak. Tony Romo. And now they have their run game back with the crop top Ezekiel Elliott. They're going to start at 12-4. Then I got 2-3. I got the Giants and Redskins, both at 9-7. I think it's going to be good years for each, but just not good enough. And then rounding it out at 3-13, the lowly Eagles. How about you?
I got the Cowboys on top as well. They're an 11-5 team. Very, very complete team. Of course, injuries could potentially happen and ruin everything.
Well, they just got to stay healthy.
But that's every team.
Their own worst enemy is themselves.
Yeah, but that's going to be any team. Injuries can always happen. I think they're going to be very good. But the interesting thing I want to say before I get into the rest, 3-3. Remember that number. That is everyone's division record in the NFC East. Because, once again, it's the NFC least here. It's a toss-up. So, coming in next, we got the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, to be specific. You'll remember that I'm pretty high on this team this year. I think they're a 10-6 team. I think they're going to do very well. Ben McAdoo, I think, is going to continue to have an amazing offense now that he's in control of it with Eli Manning. And this defense, they paid a shit ton of money for it, so it better be good. The Redskins, not hot on them. I got them only 6 wins. I do not believe in Kirk Cousins. He's a flash in the pan last year. It's going to sizzle off.
Josh Norman not going to help win that team some games.
This isn't Carolina anymore, Josh. It's not Carolina anymore. You're gonna recognize that pretty quickly. And then the Eagles, I have them as a 5-win team. So actually definitely better than what I originally intended them to be. But hey, you know what? Not bad for a team that just spent everything for a quarterback.
In this division, when it all comes down to it, Eagle fans, I want you, for a second, take the records that we just said, throw them out the window. You're going to be last. Just throwing it out there. You're going to be last. Don't be mad with it. Move forward with your hopeful franchise quarterback in Carson Wentz.
In 3 years, you can make a draft pick in the first round again.
Maybe.
So that's good.
This division is all going to be, it's going to be the Cowboys to lose. Then the Giants and the Redskins are going to try to fight for a playoff spot and be right there in the middle. Eagles at the end.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be, because I just don't think the Eagles have it in them yet. I think this is, you let Sam Bradford play out the year, you'll be okay, and then you'll move on. And I have you guys going 3-13. How about the West? How will the West be won this year, Mark?
Well, it's going to be won by the Seahawks.
I don't think so.
It's tough. It's tough. They're a 14-2 team. That's what gets it for them.
No way.
14-2. People suddenly want to. Marshawn Lynch is gone, and people want to get down on these Seattle Seahawks, but
they're not going to be Their schedule's too tough.
They're the fucking Seattle Seahawks. Who's tougher than them?
Their schedule is tough.
They win 8 games by default.
Go on,
because they're at home.
Go on. I'm cutting you off.
The only things I can give them as a loss: the Jets are going to compete and steal.
See, I got the Jets losing to the Seahawks.
And you know who else is going to be a surprise win? A huge fucking surprise?
The Cardinals.
No. The fucking Buffalo Bills. They're going to go to Seattle and steal it.
When I give mine, I'll tell you the real games they'll lose.
They are going to steal that shit.
Go on with your West
I even have them beating the San Francisco 49ers in week 17 because that's how bad the San Francisco 49ers are. Anyways,
second place.
I just wanted to let everybody know ahead of time. San Francisco 49ers are the worst team in the NFL this year. They had the number 1 overall pick. So, and yes, they will spend it on their new fancy quarterback who can actually run Chip Kelly's system because Colin Kaepernick can't win the job for some reason. How fucking ridiculous is it? He is the best quarterback for Chip Kelly's system, and he can't do it.
Baby.
He can't do it.
You know what? Christian Ponder leading the Niners to a Super Bowl.
I hope so. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals. They're a 13-3 team.
Still good. Still
they're right
really
there.
good.
They're right there. Then we have the Rams. They're 6-10. So better than I expected them to be when I started looking at these games and started giving them wins. And I'm like, I shouldn't be giving the Rams this many wins. I shouldn't be doing this. And then, of course, the 49ers are 3-13. Fucking abysmal. 0-6. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're the only team I have not winning a single division game.
Wow.
They're bad.
Only team.
They're bad.
I'm looking, and I even gave the Rams a divisional win.
No, 49ers.
I even gave them it's them. I gave one.
Who did
the
I
Rams?
get?
I gave 3
I let the
divisional wins.
49ers beat the Buccaneers. I allowed them to beat the Dolphins, and there's got to be another win in here somewhere. I let them beat the Buffalo Bills too, I guess.
My 3 wins for
There's a big
the
question
49ers.
mark on that one, though.
Spoiler. Sure, let's get into my standings, and
Let's talk about the 49ers a little bit more. How much they suck.
Well, they're 3-13 at the bottom. I got them beating the Rams week 1, beating the Bucks week 7, beating the Falcons week 15.
There you go.
That's it. 3. But at the top, let's look at my standings. You can see them. At the top, I got the Cardinals 14-2. They're going to run away with this division. The only 2 losses I see for the Cardinals is week 13. I think that the Redskins will come in and steal one from them. That's a steal game. And then I think later in the year, kind of a playing for pride kind of thing, after the division's been all locked up, I gave the Rams a win in Los Angeles. The last game of the season in Los Angeles, although it's not in their new stadium yet, they want to leave those fans with a good lasting impression. Yeah, I got them sweeping the Seahawks. I got them beating the Panthers. It's going to be a good year for the Bird Gang this season. Then in second, 10-6, but I got the Seahawks. And it's one of those things where I know you said they're the motherfucking Seahawks, or I think you said that.
They are. They're the motherfucking Seahawks.
But I look at their schedule. The Rams usually steal one, so I gave them the week 2 in L.A. I'm high on the Cardinals.
Not with these quarterbacks, though.
They're high on.
Can't steal that.
They're high on the card. I am high on the Cardinals, so I gave a sweep to the Bird Gang. That's 3 losses. The Patriots in Foxborough, the Panthers, and then the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. It's just, I think, like, the Packer game, the Panther game, the Patriot game, am I saying they're, like, for sure wins to the other side? No, the Seahawks are always that team that they have a chance to win every game. I just see it going the other side. They're still going to be 10-6, and because I had to spoil my playoff teams here because of my NFC North, that means a 10-6 Seahawks team that doesn't make the playoffs. Then I got the Rams at 3-13 and the Niners at 3-13.
Yeah, bad teams for sure. The one thing I want to adjust to, where I think the Packers in your situation should miss out on the playoffs, is because the Cardinals can't beat. I mean, not the Cardinals. The Packers can't beat the Seahawks. They can't do it. Ever since the Golden Tate curse has been afflicted on the Green Bay Packers, it just cannot be done. Doesn't even matter if Golden Tate's not on the team anymore. They still can't beat him after the touchception, directed by Christopher Nolan. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
And the one thing
also Ellen Page is in it.
I was just playing around with my my standings. If I gave that win to the Seahawks, that means the Seahawks would have gotten into the playoffs over the Bears, but that ain't going to happen. Bears are going to make the playoffs at 10-6. But
why would they have gotten over the Bears? Wouldn't the Packers be kicked out? I thought you had the Packers at 10-6.
No, I had the 11-5. I had the Packers at 11-5. So that would make the Packers 10-6. Bears would be 10-6, but the Seahawks at 11-5 would jump over them. That'd make actually the Packers would go from 5 to 6.
Yeah,
they would move down a spot. But